What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and these are the 5 biggest changes to Battlefield 4. Number 1 is 64 players on consoles. Now, I know the PC crowd they've been living the good life with 64 players for a long time, but you know, a lot of people do own consoles, and it's simply the fact that, like, I own an Xbox 360 just because most of my friends own a 360. I could get Battlefield for the computer, but I simply wouldn't have enough, as much fun playing with myself as opposed to playing the Xbox 360 with all my friends. So that's why I play consoles, and that's, I think, why a lot of people play consoles. So being able to have 64 players is a huge deal. Think about this. Console players will defend tooth and nail. They will argue that Battlefield 3 for the console is better than Call of Duty for the console. And if you think about it, Battlefield 3 for the console is a handicapped game. There is 40 less players and maps designed for 64 players. And people still think that that is a handicapped game is a superior game to a full-fledged, absolutely healthy game of Call of Duty. And I'm not dissing Call of Duty, I am excited for Call of Duty Ghosts, but that'll show you how great of a game Battlefield 3 is, even with 40 less players than what is arriving in Battlefield 4. And actually, technically 42 less players because they're adding 2 commanders now. Even though they don't have a physical presence in the game, they will be affecting the battlefield. Next, weapons. I am a huge advocate of what they've done with the weapons. It's simply brilliant what they've done. Basically, in case you don't know, engineers used to have carbines. They've moved carbines into all class as well as battle rifles. So snipers now, their only guns you unlock as a sniper is these bolt action sniper rifles. That's the only guns you can that you unlock while playing the sniper. Now, the snipers didn't lose anything because you can equip a single shot battle rifle to the sniper, but you can also equip a single shot battle rifle to any other class, and now you can equip a carbine to the sniper, and as well you can equip a carbine to the battle rifle to the engineer, which the engineer now, its default guns is SMGs. So it's really a great idea of what they've had is now any of the classes can now be modified to shoot long range. You know, a battle rifle with a high powered scope is very effective at long ranges. And so, you know, what it comes to mind is that when I think of, you know, playing Operation I keep on saying Operation, I have no idea why, but when you're playing a map like Caspian Border, like you see me play right now, the sight lines are very, very large, but then again, a large map will often have vehicles, and the problem is when you're playing an engineer, you know, the carbines aren't necessarily the greatest for super long distance. But now with Battlefield 4, I can play an engineer and still, you know, take out vehicles and repair my own vehicles, but also have a high-powered battle rifle that can shoot guys from very long distances on the big maps. And that's just a perfect combination, in my opinion. And also, I want to mention, you know, this game, going back to the 64 players, this game I'm playing right now, I go on the top of the team with 6-1. So, you know, it still had a fun game, still had an enjoyable experience playing this game, but that'll show you again how kind of, you know, nerfed it is when you only have 24 players in a map like Caspian Border. Going on to number 3, attachments. I am a huge attachment fan, and, you know, I play a lot of first-person shooters, and I'm really disappointed that, you know, it seems like a lot of game companies think that, you know, gun porn is just adding more guns, when in fact, you know, attachments are a huge part of customizing your playstyle and customizing your experience. And the Battlefield style of attachments is just so superior to the Call of Duty style of attachments. And just let me explain. The Battlefield style of attachments, what it does is it has 4 slots. 1, optics. 2, attachments. 3, muzzle, or barrel, sorry. And 4, underbarrel. Basically, all these attachments can be filled at once. There's no penalty for equipping attachments. So you're encouraged to have 4 attachments. So for the optic, I might pick something like a 4x ACOG sight. For the attachment, I can pick, you know, laser sights or flashlights, or also, let's say I want to pick canted iron sights. So I can use my 4x ACOG sight and then switch to my iron sights for close quarters. Then for muzzle, that's where your silencers are, your compensators, muzzle brakes, flash suppressors, heavy barrel, a ton of stuff is in the barrel category. So let's say I want to put on heavy barrel to increase bullet velocity and also range. And then lastly, for underbarrel, there are, I'm not making this up, there are 6 different kinds of foregrips in the game, of grips for your gun. Now, apparently there's only 3 different variations of what things do, and then for each variation, there's 2 different grips that are basically just look different, but still, that's an insane amount of options to choose from. And underbarrel is where you're also going to find your underbarrel shotgun and your underbarrel grenade launcher. Lastly, for attachments, they've added a bunch of really sweet attachments to do with sniping. For example, they've added a rangefinder, so you can now zero your target. And what zeroing is essentially is, before, if you had a target at, let's say, 500 meters away, you'd have to aim above his head and shoot and watch the bullet curve down and hit him in the head. When you zero, you account for this distance, so if you have a target 500 meters and you zero your gun, you just shoot directly at his head and the bullet will curve and come down directly in the middle of your sights for you. So it's very advantageous. And the next thing, number 4, vehicles. They have done a whole bunch with vehicle customization. You can now put camos on your vehicles, and also the platoons you make in Battlelog, they come with an emblem. This emblem will appear on the side of your vehicle when you get in it. So if you're in like a hardcore tank emblem, platoon or something, now when you're in like a tank or a helicopter, people can recognize and say like, oh shit, this guy's in this platoon. This guy's the real deal. I'm gonna stick near him or whatever. And I just think it's a neat option to have. And I really want some funny emblems plastered on the side of tanks. That's gonna be pretty awesome. And also with the vehicles, the attachments for the vehicles have gotten a lot better. Basically now you get to pick your customizations for your vehicle, and then you have a separate slot where you pick a couple of customizations for the gunner seat of that vehicle. Like you pick specific attachments for the gunner seat of the vehicle. So it's going to make the game a lot more fun if you and a buddy are like, hey, let's get in a tank together, because you're going to be able to pick specific, tailor your attachments to the gunner seat, as opposed to Battlefield 3, where some attachments had an effect on the gunner seat and some did not. Lastly, number 5, Levolution. Levolution, maybe not the greatest game for what is going on here. Name for what's going on here, but the concept is amazing. Having player-controlled assets that change the entire map. For example, the skyscraper, having 4 pillars that have to be destroyed by players in-game to bring down the skyscraper in Siege of Shanghai, and also the battleship in Parcel Storm or whatever. It's very important to recognize. I saw some gameplay where the guy was shooting. There was a guy with he had an assault rifle and he was shooting at the windmill holding up the battleship, and he was getting hit markers by hitting this windmill. So that says to me that the windmill is destroyed by the players. So it's going to be really interesting. Of course, when the game first comes out, everyone's going to be going gung-ho to destroy these like dams and skyscrapers and stuff. But once the game kind of gets into its groove, you're going to have entire games where the battleship, in Parcel Storm doesn't ever crash into land, or the skyscraper doesn't ever fall. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. So that's it for this commentary. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a good day.